Hey Gary, my name is Mina Sleep, founder of yes sir, founder of Aspire. Aspire is a productivity community for millennials. We're trying to get millennials, Generation Z, to be more productive.
Love it.
So I know that you work 16, 17, 18 hours a day, 19 hours, depending on who says they work more, you work more.
That's right.
So
25 hours a day, bitches.
so my question is, especially from my audience, how are you that productive? Like, how do you do this every single day?
Well, I think we have to define productive because it's interesting to Garrett's question, right? Like, you mean how am I actually physically executing that many? I would argue that I'm not so outrageously productive.
So I guess the first question.
You know what I mean? Let's break it down.
So I guess the first question would be, what is your definition of productivity? Is it hustle? Because every time I think about productivity, I just think about.
I think results.
Okay.
You know, like when I think of productivity, I think about results, and then I think about short-term results and long-term results. Like, I feel like the Ask Gary Vee show was a productive venture because I'm very humbled right now that all of you came here today, and it makes me super duper happy, right? Yeah. I can also think it's productive because multiple companies have now paid me, instead of going and publicly speaking because I can't make every event, they've actually paid me for a custom version of the Ask Gary Vee show. So that was productive. I get paid a lot of money for that. That seemed pretty cool. I like that. I also think it's productive because my next book that comes out in February is going to be called Ask Gary Vee, and the whole thematic around it is that, so that's going to be productive. So there's a lot of different ways it depends on how one defines productivity, number one. To me, it's the output. And so you guys heard insight into another thing, right? This 7-person team is giving me a blueprint that I'm pushing against to try to figure out a bigger business model. I mean, look, my marketing activity for Wine Library was productive because I grew my family business to a big business. It also became the output of my learnings that became the foundation of my personal brand, which became the beacon to building the fastest growing social digital agency ever, right? Like, so, like I'm doing things that people feel are not scalable in the moment that I find to be very scalable if you're willing to look at them in a 5 to 10 year window. Yeah. Got it? Yeah. Like, was it productive for me to take that meeting with Chris Desi when he randomly emailed me and said, hey, will you take this meeting? And I said, sure, which then led to a 15-minute, I'm just gonna pay forward to this kid moment, which I love to do, because you never know. Well, in this time, I didn't know, because it led to he being one of the early employees at Buddy Media, which was a company Mike Lazzaro had, and I will tell you that that led to free office space at for VaynerMedia when we started it in the conference room at Buddy Media. It also led to me giving a quote to Mike Lazzaro for Buddy Media where he gave me warrants to his company, which later sold for $1 billion to Salesforce. So I made 7 figures on a quote to a website. So I'd call that productive for that 15-minute meeting. But it also led to a friendship that has become one of the core friendships for Lizzie and I. And this Saturday night, I got to spend time with a very small group for his oldest son's bar mitzvah. And the speech that the son gave and the speech that Mike gave is something that is engraved in my heart for the rest of my life. I call that productive. But then there's a billion 15-minute meetings that I take where the kid's a piece of shit and nothing good happened. So when you play it in a net game, I think that people are overthinking their at-bats, right? And I think intent matters. I think people are trying to be too technically sound, they're not allowing for serendipity. And serendipity is where all the magic is, my friends. All of it.